Not to question the competitive nature of your football team, but it felt like today there was almost a breaking point where maybe, not you guys checked out, but there was a little bit of a breaking point today. It felt like a little competitive nature. Did you sense that with this team? And what do you have to do to?
No, I don't sense that at all. I don't think there's that issue. I think we got beat. And this is a very, very well-loaded team. And they just did their thing today on both sides of the ball, and they really took it to us. We couldn't stop their offense and get off the field on third down, and a couple penalties got in our way, and they were able to do what they needed to do. They ran for a bunch. They threw really highly efficient stuff. Wasn't taxing for them. We couldn't make it hard on them, and we couldn't get out of the way on offense. We couldn't make any yards, and so that third downs and all that. I mean, I don't think it's some big psychic change that took place. I think we just got whipped by a really loaded football team, and that on this day had their way.
Are games like this sort of an indication of maybe how far this team is from being a competitive football team like that?
I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know that answer. I don't know.
You had told us in talking about the preseason how you expected this team to be competitive and to be one that would fight. And I'm not saying they've quit, but with 2 wins.
Oh, these guys fought their ass off. Hold on. Let me address that because you brought it up. They fought their ass off. That was the result. They didn't stop fighting. That was the result of our play right there. And I have a lot of respect for the roster we just played against. And maybe they didn't look like it in the last couple of weeks or whatever, but they played like they're capable, and we couldn't stop them. And so that's what I saw.
But reiterating what I said, I'm not saying they've quit. I'm asking you, what with this team where they are right now, what do you think that is going on? Because you didn't think this is where they would be.
Well, I would never think we would. What would I base that thought on, that we would be really fighting for our life here? I have nothing but wins and background and history and all of that to set our expectations and to maintain the standards that we work by. And that's what we're doing. We're still doing it. We're still practicing hard. We're still working hard. We're still studying hard. The guys are giving good effort. They're in the weight room. They're fighting their tails off. The only good thing that happens is we didn't get anybody hurt today, But they're doing all we're asking of them, and this is the result of it against the world champs last year, who maybe weren't playing quite like that for a month here or whatever, but they look like it today. They look like a great team today.
Your thoughts on Kenny Pickett?
It was hard. It was hard on him. I thought he was trying to find his way to get some completions. He tried to run a little bit. He missed a couple. We got pushed in the pocket a few times too, where he got in trouble. I thought he competed, but he just didn't have much going. We need to run the football. If you're going to have anything going at all, you have to run the football. And so, we weren't able to get that done.
With the way the season has transpired for you, are you feeling any outside pressure or even more pressure within the organization?
There's so much pressure that comes right from here. I mean, if you could even imagine, nobody can pressure me more than myself, and my expectations and the standards that I've lived by and worked by are so high that they're almost impossible to meet. But that's still the way I know how to live, and still the way I know how to coach.
Was the lack of run game the biggest disappointment for you this year?
Yeah, our inability to just get the ball moving where we have some kind of substance of a run game to play off of. And when you don't convert on third down, you just don't get the chances. I mean, we said this, unfortunately, guys, it's the same kind of story. When that's the result of what happens with us trying to move the football, the games kind of pattern themselves. And that's not hard to see that. There's no mystery there. Okay, thanks.
Kenny, you've been on a Super Bowl champion team, and you've been on a team competing for the #1 overall pick. I'm just curious, when you're a team that's losing like this, you got lots of holes. What is that like to go from the highest of highs to the lows?
Yeah, it's the game. It's the NFL. It's the ultimate team game. Always, it'll always be that way. Every man in the locker room needs to do their part. I know everyone's trying to do that. Everyone's looking for the right answers. We just got to figure it out in the last 3.
Kenny, is it as easy to say that just a talent issue, or do you, having seen it from the other side, do you see that there's other attributes that?
I can't pinpoint it on one thing. There's a lot of things that go into being a really good team. Like I said, everyone's trying to do their part to make this thing better, and we're going to keep working here this last 3.
Obviously, you get the first start. From your perspective, what'd you see out there and how did it?
Yeah, we just lacked explosive plays. Couldn't stand the field long enough. Couldn't help our defense out. Didn't put points up. Really everything. We just have to improve everywhere.
What were they doing defensively from your view? What were they doing to slow down that offense?
I think their four-man rush was getting home, and when they're rushing 4, dropping 7, it makes it tough, throwing the football. So we got to do a better job of getting the ball out of my hands. I got to find guys earlier. We got to win on the outside to help the guys out up front. The pass game is really 3 phases: protection, myself, and then the guys running routes. So we all have a hand in it, and we all got to look to improve.
Obviously, the Raiders, you guys wanted to run the ball this year. It just hasn't happened again. Today was another issue. What do you feel like can be done maybe to get that going?
We gotta mix it up a little bit. I think gun runs under center. We can't let them tee off on tendencies. I felt like they were a beat faster than us. On certain things this week. During the game, beating us to the punch on some blocks. Maybe I don't know what our tells are, but we have to go take a look at that and see what we have going on.
Did you feel like you were ever in a rhythm for having not played as a starter?
No, that was the thing that we needed to help the defense out. We had to stay on the field and find a way to get into a rhythm, get those guys on the bench, and not out there for as long as they are. For this past however many weeks, I feel like they're always out there. So we got to hold up our end and play complementary football.
That's good.
Thank you, Kenny.